The Mandalorian is probably my favorite Star Wars thing ever, and I love getting sets based on The Mandalorian. In this video, I'm going to rank every set based on The Mandalorian so far. Number 11 is The Child. And I never really liked the brick-built character sets. They are just not the type of sets for me. This is the only set on this list that I really don't want, but I want to get every Mandalorian set. So if I want to complete the collection, I will have to get this set. There's nothing wrong with this set, it's a good build, it's just not for me. Number 10 is The Mandalorian and the Child Brickheads. And this is another type of set I don't love, but I kind of like brickheads, and it is cheaper than the Child, so it is easier to get. And I have less of a problem with it, I just prefer the regular sets to this one. Number 9 is the Advent Calendar, that was released this year, and it was completely Mandalorian themed. I have never cared about the Advent Calendars before, and have never gotten one, but since this one was based on The Mandalorian, I actually kind of want this one. The builds aren't that great, besides the pod for Grogu, which is the only set with it as a build. And the only exclusive minifigures are Christmas versions of The Mandalorian and Grogu, which are nice variations for the characters. I like it more than the previous two sets because this one has minifigures, but I don't like it more than the regular sets. Number 8 is the Mandalorian Battle Pack. I was never really a big fan of battle packs, and I'm definitely not an army builder. The minifigures are cool and add more different Mandalorian prints, but I don't love them that much. Also, the builds in this set aren't that great, so I just prefer the other sets to this one. Number 7 is Trouble on Tatooine, and when this set first came out, it was one of my favorite Mandalorian sets. It was the first set to have Beskar Mando, and that is a fantastic minifigure. Now that we have more sets, and a lot of them have Beskar Mando, this set is now not as good as I first thought. None of the minifigures are exclusive anymore, and the builds aren't bad. I like the speeder build, and the other build is fine, but it's nothing special. I still like this set, but not as much as I did when it first came out. Number 6 is the AT-ST Raider, which was the first Mandalorian set that came out. This is a pretty cool set. All the minifigures are good. The Mandalorian minifigure is a nice variation of Mando, even though it isn't as good as Beskar Mando, but this version of him is now less common than the Beskar version. I like the build for the AT-ST, but it would have been cool to see the red eyes since they are so prominent in the show. I don't know how they would have been able to do that though, maybe with a light brick, that would have been cool. Other than the missing red eyes, I don't really have a problem with this set. Number 5 is Boba Fett's Starship, also known as the Slave One, and I am one of the people who likes the new smaller scale ships like the X-Wing from earlier this year. This one isn't the best at this scale, but I do like that it is more affordable. It only comes with 2 minifigures, but both are great. The same great Beskar Mando minifigure and a new Boba Fett minifigure. The new Boba Fett minifigure looks really good with all that printing, but like many other people, I think the helmet color is off, and that's the only problem I have with this minifigure. Even though the ship does seem a little small, I still think it's a great build. There's a way to hold onto it from the back, and you can store someone frozen in carbonite inside. It also comes with a side build that doubles as a stand for the ship, which I think is really cool. Number 4 is the Imperial Armoured Marauder, and this is a good smaller set. It comes with 4 minifigures, a new Grief Karga minifigure based on Season 2, which is a really good figure that is better than his original minifigure, a Mortar Trooper which is a nice variation to the Stormtrooper, and 2 regular Stormtroopers which are good to get, and I actually like the new Stormtrooper helmets unlike a lot of people. The actual build is pretty solid. It has a lot of opening features, there are 4 seats inside, and the turrets on the sides and main turret can turn. This is a good set with some nice play features. Number 3 is the Armorer's Mandalorian Forge. I like that this is a small location build because I kind of get tired of all the vehicle builds. All 3 minifigures are pretty cool. This is the first Mando minifigure with a jetpack. Paz Vizsla is a great new minifigure, but the armor is kind of lacking in my opinion. Something about this figure just looks off. I like all the printing on the torso and legs, but the helmet doesn't look right. I understand why they reused that helmet, but it doesn't quite fit. The main problem I have with the helmet though is the print would have looked better if it was raised up a bit. Also, there should have been a cloth piece for the shoulders instead of it being printed. I really like the actual build of the set. The forge part looks really cool and like the show, and the other part has some neat stuff like the plain Mandalorian helmet and a Mandalorian hologram. And it's great that the 2 sections can connect so you can keep them together. Number 2 is the Imperial Light Cruiser, which is currently the biggest set based on The Mandalorian. It has a lot of great minifigures. The same Mando, Cara Dune, and Grogu figures, but also 3 new fantastic figures. Fennec Shand with a new helmet piece, Moff Gideon, and a Dark Trooper also with a new helmet piece, and I like all of these figures. Now the build is also really good. I have heard some negativity towards this set, but I don't understand it. The interior is lacking a little, but that makes sense because there isn't much space, and I don't really care what the interior looks like. The exterior is the most important part and I see nothing really wrong with it. It has a lot of nice greebling details and I like the design of it overall. There is a cool play feature where you can launch mini TIE fighters and you can also store the TIE fighters on the side. This is just a really nice bigger set. Number 1 had to be the Razor Crest, which was the main ship for the first 2 seasons. The minifigures in the set are nothing special, none of them are bad, but the only exclusive is Greef Karga and I think there is a better version of him in the Marauder. The Razor Crest itself is a really solid build. It has a decent interior that can fit the speeder from the Trouble on Tatooine set and 2 people frozen in carbonite. There are also some doors on the sides that have a bed on one side and a place to store some missiles. I like the overall design of the exterior and I just think out of all the Mandalorian sets, this is the best and most iconic build. So that was my ranking of every LEGO set based on the Mandalorian so far. It will probably be outdated next year when more sets are released, but this is my current list and I can't wait to see what other sets come in the future. But anyway, that's all I have to say. See you next time. Goodbye.